Hi YouTube, today it's July 14th and today's a really special day because 1 year ago exactly, this little guy came into my world. This is my Amur hedgehog. His name is Bart. You can see his cute little face. Little Barty Bart. Spines. And like I said, he is an Amur. I know the ones that are kept as pets in the US are African pygmies, and he is a lot bigger than that. When I'm on the scale, I am 1.2 kilos heavier with him in my arms, and that's just him, not his blankie, just me and Hedgehog, than without him. And I don't think he's fat because I've heard if a hedgehog's fat, they're not able to curl into a tight little ball. And if it's time to cut his nails and he does not want his nails cut, he curls into a tight little ball and I have to get him in the sink to get him out. So I think he's just a big boy. But I thought I'd share the story tonight of how we first met. And I don't know if you believe in any kind of higher being, but I'm pretty convinced this was divine intervention. So rewind back to a year ago today. I had off of work and I was taking a nap and I woke up and I really wanted a rojimo. And that's a type of sandwich here that is delicious, but it's super greasy and probably like not a heart attack on a bun, but like a heart attack between like a Chinese roll bread thing. And I'd been eating kind of a lot of them lately, and I'm like, I don't know if that's too healthy, but I really want one, but I'm gonna like make myself sick, but I really want one. And the shop that I get them at is maybe like a 40-minute walk from my house. Normally, when I teach classes at that place, I take the bus. And I thought, okay, if you really want one, that's fine. But you have to walk there to get it, and you have to walk home. So I started walking, got there, had my sandwich. It was delicious. And then there was a shop that I'd seen a couple of times, and I thought, sure, what the hell, let's go in here. So I went in there, and then I'm like, okay, it's getting kind of dark, let's walk home. And as I'm walking home, I see this man with a bucket, and something told me, go look in the bucket. And I did, and this guy had Bart in the bucket. And that's not common to see a person with a hedgehog in a bucket walking down the street in China, so I went up to him, and I asked, what are you doing? Is that a hedgehog? And I don't speak Chinese. I was just like, Sue ma, like hedgehog. And and I was like, oh, I have a hedgehog, as I had Mr. Smooth. I had bought him maybe like a month and a half earlier, and I showed the picture to him, and I was asking this guy all these questions about this hedgehog. I'm like, is it a boy or a girl? And he was like, oh, I don't know. And we're walking, and it's getting kind of dark, and the streetlights came on, and we were on a bridge that I now call Bart's Bridge because I met him for the first time there. And I held him up in the light, and I thought I saw a penis, and I'm like, okay, it's a male, and I have a male, and it was kind of weird because this guy had him in this bucket, and he had like a thing of lettuce in there too, and I really didn't understand what was going on, but I kept following this guy because I wasn't sure what he was going to do with him. I was like, if he's going to eat him, I'll offer to like buy him off because I don't want this little thing to get eaten. I have a hedgehog of my own at home. I have bonded with it. I can't stand to see them being eaten. I know some traditional folk remedies require hedgehog skin. I know some people do eat them. And I understand like different cultures are different, but that's just not something I could live with myself with. I would have had to save him. And I just kept following this guy, and I was like, Sue? And I'm just giving him this face like, so, what are you going to do with that thing? Give me the hedgehog. Give me the hedgehog. Give me the hedgehog. And my students were like, you scared him. I told them the story, and I'm like, good. And this guy finally like hands me the bucket, and he asks for my phone number, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. If he's a creep, I'll just block him, but I'm not going to let this thing suffer. So I get this bucket with this hedgehog in it. I walk back to my house, and when I have him in the light, I take a good look at him. And what I thought was his penis was actually a tick, like a giant tick that was probably like the size of my thumbnail that was big and full of blood and had obviously been on there for a while. And I'm like, oh my God, that's disgusting. That poor thing. So I busted out the tweezers and pulled that one off. And then I found another chick. And I found another chick. And I pulled off 12 of them before he was getting like really, really mad at me. Because I imagine it hurts. And I'm like, there's still more. And I don't know what the hell is going on here. I need help. And I am in small town China. There's not a whole lot of veterinary care available, and the stuff that is available is just for cats and dogs, not so much hedgehogs. But what my students said was like, oh, teacher, rabbit is ill. Rabbit, go to pet store. And I guess they help you at the pet store. So I went to the pet store and I tried explaining, I found this thing last night. He's covered in bugs and I think he might be sick. Can you help me? And this was like, I tried translating it through my phone, and they were like, oh. And they said through their phone, come back tonight, like at 7:30. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I did some stuff around the house, and I came back at 7:30, and they had this girl there who I guess had studied abroad in England and could speak English. And I told her the whole story. I told her what happened, and she's like, okay. And the guy at the pet store was amazing. Like, she translated what happened, and he's like, okay. And he starts pulling ticks off. He's pulling them off maybe like he was 5 or 6 in, and I know it's painful, and Bart decided he had had enough. He bit this dude. He was like, and he was hanging on, and the guy does that whole Chinese person pain yelp that I've heard, and yeah, it's really characteristic. If you've heard it, you'll know. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, my hedgehog bit you. And he got him loose, and he continued to pull ticks off him, and we had gotten all that we could see. And she told me, the girl who spoke English through him, said that he probably has bugs on the inside too, and he's probably not going to live a long time. And I said, that's fine. As long as he has a home with me, he has food, he has love, I will take care of him until he dies. But, like, I just want to make him comfortable. What should I do? And they sold me some medicine where you put the drops on their back. And I think that kind of hurts because he hissed. And then you do it again a month later. And the next morning, I found some dead, gross ticks in there. And for the next couple of days, I continued to find them, and then we were clear for a while, and then that was about it. I know this is kind of gross, but I checked the poop, and I didn't see anything that looked like tapewormy in there. I did have a dog when I was growing up that had heartworms, so I kind of know what intestinal stuff looks like, or heart stuff, or just bugs that come out in poop, and he didn't have that, so I guess that's good. But oh my God, when I brought him home, he was filthy. I thought he was just a solid brown, and I know he's kind of burrowing right now, but I'll show you. He actually has white highlights on his face, and he has a lot of white quills too. No, that was all just solid brown, and I gave him a bath in the sink, and it was just mud, and I was like, okay, we're gonna need another bath, and I kind of think I'm in a little over my head, but this little dude needs me. So I went on hedgehogcentral.com, and I was like, what do I do with a very, very dirty hedgehog? And the people on there were super helpful and supportive, and it took me like 4 baths to finally get him clean. But yeah, now he is a nice multicolored hedgehog. And with him, when I first brought him home, he was really skinny. I could feel his hip bones back here, and you know, the guy that I kind of bullied him away from gave me his phone number, and I was like, okay. And I was texting him, and I was like, so, like, what have you been doing with him? He was really sick. I took him to the vet. I was trying to get as much, like, background information on him as I could, and this worthless piece of crap said, oh, I had him for 1 year, but he was difficult to care for, and I'm happy he's with you. I'm pretty sure what that guy was going to do was just go dump him in the park, because here, I guess that's something that people do if you have an animal that's sick or is problematic, or you got it when it was little and you don't want it anymore because it's not cute, or some other crappy reason. They'll just dump them in the park, and they think it's fine. I'm American. I don't think that's okay. but that's what they do here. So the part where I said I think it was divine intervention was, why did that guy pick that night to dump him? And had I not decided I needed a sandwich, had I not decided to stop at the store, had I taken a longer nap, had I decided to do stuff around the house, I wouldn't have met up with him. So yeah, I do think like we were meant to be together, and that makes me happy. And I was texting this guy like I was saying, and I was like, so does he have a name? And he said, oh, I just called him Hedgehog. And I'm like, you are a horrible person. Go burn in hell and die. And I was like, okay, so what's a good name for you? And I thought about it, and you know how on The Simpsons, how Bart Simpson is kind of naughty and he's a mischievous little boy, but his mom loves him and she says, oh, my special little guy. He's my special little guy, and that's how I came up with the name Bart. And same thing, Bart on The Simpsons. He's kind of spiky, but he needs love. Like, all living things need love. So that's how I came up with the name. I do think something bad kind of happened to him there, because every once in a while he will scream. It is the most scary thing ever, especially when you're not expecting it. I didn't know Hedgehog screams, but this one does. And I'll go in there and I'll see him balled up, like really, really super angry, and he'll just be hissing, and I think he's having nightmares, so I'll wake him up like, it's okay, it's okay. And then when I wake him up, he kind of flattens out, and I feel bad that he had to go through that, and he's suffering, but he's with me, and I hope he knows he's loved. And I play with him for half an hour every night. We watch movies together. Actually, his favorite movie is Full Metal Jacket. If I put that on, he just pops and he just watches. I don't know if you've been noticing, but he's kind of been sniffing and burrowing around in his blanket. Nope, Full Metal Jacket's on, he just flops. So since tonight's the anniversary of when we met, I think we can watch that tonight for him. Something else that happened with him is, like I said, he was really skinny. And yeah, the guy had lettuce in the bucket for him. Insectivore. They don't eat lettuce. They eat bugs in the wild. I do buy like mealworms for him, and at the pet store where they gave me the drips, you can buy like cockroaches too. And I buy those for him, but his main source of food is cat food. And you put it in there and give it maybe 10 minutes, you hear him just crunching away. And yeah, I don't think he's fat, but I don't think he's skinny. I think he's just fine the way he is. And this piece of crap previous owner that I was texting said, oh, he likes to eat bananas. And I'm like, okay. So I had a banana and I like bit off a little piece and I put it in his cage. No, it didn't get touched and it was starting to attract fruit flies. I think he was so hungry that whenever any food was put down there, he just ate it. And I was trying to find out more information about Bart so I could provide better care. And I was like, was he a baby when you got him? Was he bigger? And he said, oh, he lived with me 1 year. I love him very much. No, you don't. No, you frickin' don't. He was full of bugs. He was sick and he was skinny. No, you don't love him. And that seriously breaks my heart to know that he had to suffer for a year. But he's been with me for a year and I think he's okay now. As you can see, he's not balled up. He trusts me. He knows I'm not going to hurt him. When I give him a bath, he's pretty chill about it. When I first did it, oh my god, he was like swimming for his life. It was the Hedgehog like 500-meter front crawl in my bathroom. But he's good now. And like I said, he does kind of bite. If you don't want it to get bit, don't put it in front of his mouth. That's why I have the blanket. One, because it's soft and I think it's good for them to be able to dig and burrow and stuff. And it kind of shields my arm, because if that was not there, I would have like a chunk missing. And from the guy with the pet store, I've seen he can do some damage. I have been bit a few times and it hurts, and he has drawn blood, but I don't think he means it. I think it's just like instinct, or if he remembers something bad, like I know he can't help it and he doesn't mean it. I really hope this isn't the only video like this I make. I know they can live for up to 4 years, and I think that's with African pygmies. I know most people don't have a MERS. I'm hoping like it's a different breed and they'll live longer. I would love to stay in China for another like 6 years. I think that's maybe on the optimistic side, and take care of him and love him and be his mommy. So, okay, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Have a good night or morning whenever you're watching this. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.